Hello everyone. Today we're looking at a game between Maurice Ashley with the white pieces and Grandmaster Giorgi Kacheishvili with the black pieces. This game took place at the Marshall Chess Club in 1998. Maurice started out e4 and Kacheishvili c6, c4, d5, and this leads to white to isolated pawn positions where he has to play dynamically and utilize the open files created by the isolated pawn in order to prove his argument that activity will triumph over the pawn weakness. If black is able to, however, mitigate white's activity, all right, and just strategically just trade off pieces, then the pawns will often become a weakness in the endgame as there's only one piece that can now protect the isolated pawns. So here, right in the opening, the isolated pawn now turns to double pawns in this Caro-Kann, and still the same principles apply here. We had the two open files for white, and he has diagonal for his bishop, and a lot of space for open piece play. So that's kind of the umbrella where white is going to base his strategy, utilizing the space advantage, the open diagonals, open files, and ranks in order to generate an attack against the king or get him to relinquish material as a result of the mounting threats in the position. The bottom line is white must play active. White must be active with these type of pawn structures. Black, on the other hand, of course, he has to play active too. That's a given. But however, his pawn structure is pristine, and if he can again just weather the storm, gradually trade off pieces, he usually will stand better. And as the pawns stand on the open C and D files, of course, these are the files where black is most likely to place his rooks in order to attack the pawns, especially the one at c3. So let's see how the game continued. Bishop d6 by Kacheishvili, and now knight g5. Of course, if just a weakening move like h6 is done, then just simply knight e4 is good for white attacking the bishop anyway. And so not only does black waste time in playing a move like h6, but also weaken his king side in the process in helping white move to where he would want to move anyway. Castle is also possible, but again, white is playing very active and in a provocative manner to get black to weaken his king side. So for instance, queen d3 here forces some kind of weakness, whether it's g6 or f5 to try to stop the attack against the king. Kacheishvili understands and just simply plays bishop e7. He doesn't allow any weakness to come into position. So rook e1, and now he castles here. And Kacheishvili plays queen to f3. If queen h5, then h6 can be played. Or if he definitely wants to stick to the policy of not creating any weaknesses, just simply bishop takes g5. But of course, black would relinquish the bishop pair. But I think both moves are just fine here. Maurice played queen f3 and bishop takes g5. Bishop takes g5. And so black gives up the bishop pair rather unprovoked. But the game is equal nevertheless. And typical Caro-Kann player offering the trade of queens here in order to go into a comfortable ending here. Queen g3, Maurice wants to continue to pursue attacking chances. f6, bishop h6, of course threatening mate in 1, can't allow that to happen. And a4, and Maurice wants to fix the pawns on the A and B files, and especially weaken the b6 square. Bishop d7, a5, so there you have it. Now bishop c6. So now white has to keep an eye on g2 square as black has improved his piece. pieces. So game continued. Bishop f4. You had this opposite colored bishop situation. Guarding e5. Black is thinking of going here at some point and perhaps settling down here with the bishop. So rook d7, h4, king f7, f3. So now Maurice can move his queen away and not have to worry about being checkmated. Queen f5 and rook e3. So now you can see both sides kind of have pawn weaknesses, and the game is pretty much even here. Black has to worry about the e6 pawn being attacked after the doubling up of the rooks, and later on perhaps white has to worry about the attack coming against the c3 pawn. Rook g8. And now here's the start of an ambitious plan by black, and black wishes to bust open the G file and attack white down the same file. Bishop d5, queen h2, h5, so fixing the pawn. Bishop d6, and now g5. H takes g5, rook takes g5, and so black is pretty much going for it here. Now he takes on the kind of similar weaknesses that white has in the position as far as the pawn structure is concerned. So he's going to play for an attack also. Bishop f4 by Ashley, rook g7, queen h4, bishop c4, king h2, and now pawn is jettisoned. And Maurice sacrifices his pawn for the attack down the e file, and so now he plays the move d5. The idea here is if bishop d5, then this queen takes h5 check here, which is almost winning, if not winning for white. Notice how the bishop here blocks off the action of the queen here. So a sample variation could go queen takes h5, and let's say king g8, queen e8 check, king h7, and then now there's hell to pay for the h file being opened earlier. Okay, and as you can see, the king is about to move, and there's going to be a discovered attack. So let's say rook g f7 just to make room for the king to get over. King g3 now, king g6, and then you can see the pieces just start flooding in. Rook h6 check, king f5, and now there's a powerful move here. There's a couple of them. Actually could play queen b8 here, which is nasty, and you can also play rook takes e6 here. And the idea being bishop takes here, and now rook h5, and look at the poor queen here. And now you can see that white has a beautiful attack. So that's the idea, one of the main ideas there. So this is why the move queen d5 was played in the game. And now here is the reason behind this move, rook takes e6. So if queen takes here, and this just shows you how deep Maurice was looking in the position. If rook takes here, if queen takes e6, then queen takes h5 check, king e7, rook takes, and I say bishop takes, and then you have this imbalance here with the two rooks in opposite colored bishops versus the queen. Okay, so let's say bishop e3, and of course we're not worried about this move because you simply just take there. So let's say rook d5, then queen h8, and then you have, an imbalance game here. I like White's position a little better here because the rooks aren't really coordinated at this point, and I think that's the main issue here. It's still a little awkward for Black as far as his piece placement, and his king is kind of caught out there in the middle for now. As White, it's easy for White to just keep attacking things. Okay, so this is why Queen takes e6 wasn't played by Kacheishvili. Instead, he opted for the move. Not that Queen takes e6 was bad, but you saw, it gets kind of murky there. So, with that said, you get this idea, exclamation mark from Ashley. This idea of sacrificing this pawn and then playing the move d5. Very strong move. So, after rook takes e6, Kacheishvili just went and played queen f5 here. Maurice moved the rook to the 8th rank. Nimzovich will be proud. And now rook g8. Trying to just, put out the fire a little bit, right? Kacheishvili's king is looking a little drafty now. So facilitates the trade of rooks. And now the other rook comes to e8. King h7. And now Maurice plays bishop g3. And here he starts to lose the thread on the position a little bit. Because remember, he had sacrificed the pawn for an attack. And now the attack seems to be going away. Alright, and so now we just see Black just having, extra pawn. But White not really having an attack. Maybe instead of bishop g3, maybe bishop e3. Perhaps a little better, but it's hard to find a good attacking continuation for White to keep the initiative going. It seems after this he's kind of, the king is kind of safe here, even though it's out in the open. There's really no way to get to it. So bishop g3 here, of course, attacking the bishop. Bishop f7, rook f8, and again, all I see here is consolidation from Black. And so now Black is just up a pawn. King g7. Rook a8 getting behind the pawns, of course. Queen c5. And now the c pawn, is under attack. Bishop f4. And now just queen takes c3. So at this point, Maurice knows he's in trouble. And he says, you know what? I'm just going to try to go all out and attack. That's his only chance at this point. So we see Kacheishvili up 2 clean pawns, and the game is almost resignable. But hey, the Black king is kind of drifting around, and you never know what might happen. So queen g3, king h7, queen h3, attacking the rook. Right? Notice how Maurice just keeps threatening things. Queen d3, rook b8. Queen d5, again, just consolidating everything. That's a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. When you're in these type of positions, you know you're winning. Don't rush. Like, there's no reason to rush and try to throw these pawns up the board. Just consolidate. Get your positions rock solid as possible. Trade down if you can. Especially Kacheishvili would love to trade the queens off. But the key is do not try to rush. Queen h4. Again, Maurice is just being annoying, attacking. Queen f5. Bishop drops back to g3. Bishop d5. Again, notice how Kacheishvili is just playing in the center here. Puts the bishop in a very powerful position. Protects this pawn, which frees this rook now. Rook f8. Again, notice on the other side, Maurice just being annoying. King g7, rook e8, king h7, rook f8. And this is probably a time situation where, just repeating moves. Maurice actually avoids the trade of rooks there. And now Kacheishvili is saying, hey, my position is solid enough. My king is rock solid. Now I'm going to just start pushing the pawn. So a5, queen d4. Again, Maurice with the double attack here. Bishop moves to safety, c6. not only moving the safety but also supporting the advance of the pawn. So rook a8, rook d7 now, queen c3, rook g7, bishop h4. Again, Maurice with the constant annoyance. Queen g6. Now black threatens mate. So g3 is played, a4, advancing the pawn. And this game, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much over for all intents and purposes. But again, notice the fight of Maurice here. He attacks this pawn again. So rook e7 here. Rook f7 is also completely logical. But rook e7 is a trap built into it. The idea is rook e7. The idea is basically, well, let's say it like this. There's a trap here that's set by Kacheishvili, but it's actually a mistake. But Maurice falls into the trap. So that's what's funny. The best move here, and the most logical, especially in these kind of situations, is just try to trade off rook f7. Okay, and continue this idea of just pushing this pawn forward. So rook f7 is the correct move. Rook e7 is played, and it's a trap. And these players might have been in time trouble or what have you. Maurice falls right into the trap. Maurice plays rook takes f6. So this is exactly what Kacheishvili wanted. Let me show you the right move. So after rook e7, Maurice has to play this move, queen c4, which prevents this idea of rook e2 check. That's the main idea. All right. Now, once that move is prevented, this is threatened also twice. Okay. So what can black really do? All right. Now he no longer has the option of coming here to protect the pawn. All right. So he goes here in order to renew the threat of coming to the second rank. And now rook takes f6. Yes, rook d2 check is still played. King h3, and of course white is still worse here, but he just has more chances in the position. Okay. Queen g4 check. This forces the trade of queens here. Now you might be like, hey, what in the world is going on? If f takes g4, then you had this idea here, bishop g2 here, and then you pick up the queen again. Rook takes check. King g1, check, king f1, and finally, and now it gets a little suspect here. a3 takes, king h6, and g4. And the point is now you have this opposite bishops, right? And we already know how this is gonna end. Okay. Okay, so this gives black the most chances in the position. All right, definitely chances to draw. I'm not even sure if that's a just looking at that real quick. I'm not sure if black can win that, but it definitely gives white more chances. Instead, he fell into the trap and played rook takes f6, and now rook e2 check happened. King h3, bishop d7, ouch, right? g4 is forced, and now Kacheishvili played the powerful move, bishop takes g4 check, right? Instead of just playing by rote and playing this move right here, because here, and then king g3 is not as powerful. Okay, because remember the queen is under attack here. So this means that black will have to take a step back from the initiative and play a move like queen g7, right, to get the king into safety. This gives white a chance to play f4 and then kind of use this pawn as a barrier. This is why bishop takes g4 check was played. Okay, because now if f takes g4, then the queen can come in and then it's going to be checkmate. So after g4, bishop takes g4, king g3 is forced, and now, right, black is totally winning, but Maurice must have prayed for a miracle here, because at this moment, Kacheishvili made one of the biggest blunders that you can make, a GM or as a chess player in general, and completely left his queen hanging at the bishop takes f3. And Maurice was glad. He must have saw a ghost here, because Maurice just played rook takes g6 and Kacheishvili resigned. I would have loved to see the expression on his face after he played this move, bishop takes f3. Alright, so just brutal, absolute brutal loss for black, right? GM Kacheishvili after just playing, a nice opening, nice middle game, a nice counterattack at the end, going up 2 pawns and being just so close to just winning the game and just making having that one oversight. So isn't chess brutal? Everybody, chess can be rough. Woo! I feel for him right there. All these years later, just looking at this game is like, whoa. Again, if anybody knows any like anecdotes or stories, uh, like that about background about some of these games, like please let me know in the comment box. I love the background stories, um, and anecdotes concerning these games. I know Maurice Ashley is out there somewhere. I've been putting his games up lately because there's not a lot of Maurice Ashley games, like on online, and I like showing his games because a lot of people, that especially that are younger think he's just a commentator and he like never played or whatever. But no, Maurice Ashley is that dude. He strong player at the time, grandmaster. Case closed. Period. Doing it against the best. I just showed a game from Victor Korchnoi. Went over against Walter Brown. I guess he defeated Pavel Blatny. So he played high level GMs. He lost to some. He beat some. But he proved that he belongs. So here's another game right here. So I know some people are gonna be like, oh well, he got lucky. Hey, that's part of the game. You know what I mean? Maurice didn't play bishop takes f3. Kacheishvili did. He just capitalized. But what Maurice did, and what you can take from this game in conclusion, is that he fought. Right? As long as there was like a glimmer of hope, he kept fighting. And that's why I kept emphasizing the fact that he was attacking over and over. He kept attacking. Just being annoying, even though he was 2 pawns down. He just kept attacking, putting pressure here, pressure there. And that's what happens. Is sometimes you put that pressure on an opponent and eventually he cracks, and that's what happened. He made that fatal error and it was over. And I think I mentioned this before in other videos. If you study the games of Adolf Anderson, you will see a lot of those games he was totally busted, but he would just stay active. Activity, and the opponent would slip up trying to convert, an advantage where he had to play accurately, and he would win a lot of games like that. So you could call it luck or whatever, but hey, luck comes about by good preparation. Then luck just appears for you. So I hope you liked that game as much as I did. Please check the links below. Please support and donate to my channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Also, check out the links for DVDs and slash books below related to the opening that you saw on the board today, which was the Caro-Kann defense. And I'll see you guys on the next video.